It's time to rank these movies one last time. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning has dropped in theaters, so I'm going to stop and rank all 8 Mission Impossible films, ranked from the weakest to the amazing. Let's go. So yes, I'll be ranking all 8 Mission Impossible films. And remember, my list is not the right list. It's just my list. I'd love to hear your list in the comments. Share your ranking of all 8 Mission Impossible films. Without further ado, let's get started. In last place, Mission Impossible 2. Now, I don't actually think that this is a bad movie. I think it's a perfectly fine and watchable Mission Impossible film. But yes, it is the weakest of the franchise. Now, you can easily tell that this movie is directed by John Woo because it has John Woo's distinct action style. And even before I watched this movie, I knew who John Woo was. And I've seen clips of his other films, even though I've never seen a John Woo movie from beginning to end other than Mission Impossible 2. But still, I knew who he was before I saw this movie. Then I didn't even know he directed it, watched it, and asked myself, did John Woo direct this? And yes, he did. So yeah, even the hand-to-hand combat here, you can tell he directed this, but wasn't a fan of the hand-to-hand combat here because Ethan Hunt uses these weird tricks with his legs and stuff. Instead of just punching in the face and stuff, he's kicking people a lot and doing all these tricks with his legs. Reminds me of the guy from Wish Dragon who has his hands in his pocket the entire film, never takes them out, and opens the door with his legs, kicks people a bunch, all these tricks with his legs, does everyday things with his legs. It's weird. And obviously Ethan Hunt doesn't do that at all. But when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, he kind of does. But everything else he doesn't. But still, I wasn't really a fan of that. And he does all these flips and tricks and stuff. And we don't see this stuff, the tricks with his legs and all the flips and tricks he does. We don't see that in the other Mission Impossible films. So it really just doesn't work. And it's weird. This belongs in a Karate Kid film, not a Mission Impossible movie. So yeah, just really does not suit this movie at all. And it should be in a Karate Kid movie, not a Mission Impossible movie. Also, the villain here, Sean Ambrose, is very forgettable. He doesn't even pose that big of a threat. He's just, making this gas that kills people. And all he wants to do is date Naya, who is introduced in this film. And that's all he wants. And there's this one scene where he disguises himself as Ethan Hunt and talks to her and stuff to test if she's really into him and on his side. And then she says I want to be with you, I want to get out of here, and talks about the plan a lot. And then he just and then she walks away, and then he leaves, takes off his mask, and he just starts crying. That's so dramatic. Every time I watch that scene or this movie in general, I just start laughing because of how dramatic it is. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's also really ridiculous how they sent Naya to go there to date this guy and love him and distract him so that Ethan and Luther and everyone can do their job. Who would accept that to do that job? Come on. Also, the plot here is pretty forgettable, where there's this gas that kills you with if you breathe it in within 24 hours. And that's very forgettable because if you look at Fallout, you got a nuke that can destroy a whole town. If you look at Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, you got this entity that can make nukes go and destroy the entire Earth. And then you look at Mission Impossible 2, and you got this gas that will kill you. If you breathe it in 24 hours, you're going to be dead. That's not a big threat at all. You can easily stop that. And a couple people might die, okay, that's it. It's really, no. Not a big threat and, very forgettable threat. Also, the film here is just over-the-top dramatic. Well, first of all, actually, we need to talk about the painfully forced-in love story here between Naya and Ethan. I'm not, a hater of Naya. I think she's a fine character, but we never see her again. She's not in the first movie. Yes, she introduced in the second film, and then we never see her again. She's not in the third film. She's not in the fourth, and so on. She's only in the second film. So it just really just doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, she's a thief and all, and like you're probably wondering why do you like Grace so much? Well, Grace, for starters, is in 2 films, and she's just a lot more fun to be around, and she's just overall a better character. Not just because I don't know the actress for Naya, but I do know the actress for Grace, Haley Atwell. No, it's not that. But still, Grace is just a lot more fun. Great character. Naya, she's forgettable. That's it. And just, it's a weird love story. I don't know why this love story is pushed in. Yeah, we have a love story in the third film. We have a love story, like, that third film has a lot because Ethan's getting married and stuff. We have other ones with love stories, but, like, really 2 and 3 are the ones that, like, really do. They're not really needed at all. So, yeah. That's really it. Yeah. But the film is just really overly dramatic, especially at the end, where Naya makes a stupid decision by putting this shot in her that has, like, the gas, so she'll die in 24 hours. Or, yeah, and then, so that's, like, stupid. Why are you doing that? Just so Sean Ambrose can't get it? Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? That's just really stupid. So then Ethan goes to the place, gets the antidote, kills a bunch of people. A bunch of guys are going after him. Then we get a big car / motorcycle chase. And then we lead to the final battle with a hand-to-hand combat / motorcycle showdown. And, like, all of that happens just because Ethan loves her that much and wants to give her the antidote. Like, that is just so ridiculous and dumb. Why is this, like... I mean, sorry, it's not ridiculous and dumb. I just realized what I just said. It is ridiculous. Over the top ridiculous. Why are you doing this for some girl that will never show up again? So it's just so dramatic. Honestly, man, I've never seen a movie so dramatic in a while. But yeah, just very dramatic movie. But yes, you guys are like probably saying like, how do you not hate this movie and stuff? Because it's just all the stuff I just said. Well, this movie I still enjoyed. All that stuff I just said is still enjoyable. It's not bad. It's just like ridiculous, weird, over the top, dramatic stuff like that. But still, it's watchable and it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. It's still watchable, and we get some cool sequences. There's a lot of cool gadgets. We get Ethan and Luther are cool as hell in this movie. The movie's fun. We get that awesome lab shootout scene. That's a really fun scene. We get Ethan jumping out of a window. Like, it's a lot of fun. Alright? So we get some awesome action. And we get some, like, that chase. The final duel is still cheesy, like when he picks up the gun by kicking the sand. But still, we get that final duel with the motorcycle / hand-to-hand combat. That's still enjoyable. We get the motorcycle / car chase. That's still fun. We get that thing before that where he, like, kills a bunch of guys and gets the antidote. Fun stuff. So the movie's still watchable and enjoyable. So, yeah, still a fine enough Mission Impossible film. In 7th place, Mission Impossible. The movie that kickstarted this entire amazing franchise. Now, this might be a controversial pick because a lot of you are going to have this a lot higher on your list. It's an absolute classic to others. It's an amazing, great movie. All that stuff. To me, it isn't. I went into this film expecting an awesome, action-packed movie. Yeah, and that's not what I got at all. This movie has no action in it. No action at all, except for the ending sequence on the train. You don't even get that much action there either. So, do not go into this film expecting an awesome action movie. That's not what you're going to get. And that's what I went into. But then after the end credits, I was like, I enjoyed the movie. That was really good. Like, we get introduced to his team and all, and then they get picked off one by one. So the movie is a whodunit thriller because the entire film is trying to figure out who killed all Ethan's friends. All that stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I love whodunits. It's one of my favorite genres, and that's what this movie is. So I actually really enjoyed that. And yeah, we're just trying to figure out who killed his team. All that stuff. But then we meet like Luther and all, and then they try and like the whole Nautilus sequence where he's going like the most iconic stunt ever in my opinion. There will never be more iconic stunt. Now, there's a lot of stunts in this franchise I like more. Like 6 of them that I like better than this, but this stunt is so iconic. Where he's going down in the harness, the other guy's holding it, and then there's like a rat in the vent, and he's just trying to like stay close to him. But then he drops, and he's like hovering over the floor. And even if a driplet of sweat drops on the floor, you're done. The temperature has to stay the same. You can't touch the ground. Nothing. So that's just what really is just intense, and one of the most like intense sequences ever. I was like sweating so much and just grabbing my seat because how intense that sequence was. So yeah, awesome stuff. But at the start, I was just expecting like you get introduced to his team, all that stuff, and yeah, that's what happens here. You get introduced to his team. They seem like a fun crowd, and everybody's just happy and all that, laughing, having a good time. They're getting ready. They go on it, and then people start dying. You get a guy who's like sliced in the eye by an elevator when he's on top. You get a car getting blown up with one of the crew members into it. Person gets shot. Person gets stabbed. All that stuff. So everyone's just getting picked off one by one. So the entire film, we're trying to figure out who killed Ethan's team. That was just really cool in my opinion. I really liked that because I love whodunits. One of my favorite genres of all time. So I just really enjoyed just guessing, trying to figure out who the person is. And I actually didn't. So the ending came to a shock that Jon Voight's character, Jim Phelps, who is the leader of the operation at the start, was the killer. It wasn't Kittredge because he was like, it was kind of a shock that he survived. And he said like it was all Kittredge and stuff. It wasn't. And it was Jim Phelps, Jon Voight. And he just explains to Ethan like all that stuff of what happened. We also get that intense conversation between Ethan and Kittredge in the diner. So that was pretty cool. Intense stuff. But yeah, like when Jim Phelps survived, I just like gasped. I was like, oh, he's alive. And like, yeah, just explains Kittredge did it, which he didn't. So at the train sequence, like we figured it out that it was, because it was showing like flashbacks that it's actually him, but he was telling Ethan that it was Kittredge. But yeah, Jim Phelps, Claire, who we thought was going to be who was a love interest of Ethan, was actually like originally love interest of Jim, but then like him and her and Ethan came together as a thing, and then yeah, it turns out she was bad, and then this other guy who's holding the rope of Ethan in the harness, that iconic stunt scene with the Nautilus. Yeah, so it turns out those 3 were the killers, and they killed the entire crew and all that. So that was pretty dang cool. That was one of the most clever twists ever. I didn't see any of those coming. I thought it'd be way too obvious if Claire did it. And like Jim, I did not expect. I thought he was dead. The other guy as well, didn't expect him. But yeah, this movie was just so clever with its twist. Was just, oh my gosh, that was just crazy. I really enjoyed all that stuff there with the twist. It was just awesome stuff. And then we get that awesome train sequence at the end where the reveals happen that Jim, Claire, and that other guy, I forget his name, that was holding the rope for Ethan in the iconic scene with the Nautilus, the twist with all of them are the killers in the train sequence. And then like Jim is trying to escape because he shoots Claire. I don't know why, it's kind of stupid. You're supposed to like love him and stuff, but then she's like defending, don't kill Ethan. So then he shoots her, and then he tries to escape on the train, and Ethan's like, because he's going really fast, so he's just trying to hold on and stuff, and a little fight there, and then he like throws this gum bomb thing on the helicopter, killing them. So that was actually personally, like, that was awesome and really cool. So yeah, you don't get a lot of action there, but that's still awesome stuff. For a 1996 movie, I think like that was just crazy stuff with that whole train helicopter sequence. Incredible. But yeah, just a really good, clever spy thriller. In 6th place, Mission Impossible 3. Now this movie and moving forward are movies that I think are great and I love them. So from my number 6 to my number 1 are movies that I love. So from here on out. But yeah, this is where like we really started to get into the good stuff. Where it takes the first film, like the whole spy kind of thriller, takes that, and the action from the second film, mixes it together, and we get Mission Impossible 3. That like it kind of does the wrongs of the first two films and just puts it all together, and that's what we get here. And this is probably like the darkest Mission Impossible film, with like we get the greatest villain of the entire franchise, Philip Seymour Hoffman. That guy is just out of this world, threatening, and he delivered just one of the best performances of the entire franchise. And yeah, he's the reason why this film is so dark and everything. And like that opening scene, oh my gosh, like where Ethan's just strapped to the chair, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman is just holding the gun to Julia, which is Ethan's wife, and like saying like, "Where's the rabbit's foot? Where is the rabbit's foot?" And he starts counting down. 1, 2, 3, and so on. And he's like, "Nah, you don't think I'll do it?" Like all that stuff. Intense. Like I was gripping my chair, sweating. Like I don't even know. I can't. Like I always gonna say that. I'm always gonna say that. But almost all the Mission Impossible films, there's an intense sequence. I grip my chair, start sweating, like start getting walked in. My stomach starts sinking, all that stuff. Because I was actually thinking that she was gonna die, which she didn't once we actually get to the scene. Because this is like we go back in time basically. We're like we start the sequence, then we get the awesome intro, one of my favorite intros of all time for the Mission Impossible films. Then we like start back a lot earlier, and then once we get to the sequence, yeah, it's actually like I think it's like Philip Seymour Hoffman's like secretary, his character. I don't know why I keep saying the actor's name, but yeah, Owen's character, Owen Damien or whatever his name is. His secretary is like disguised as Julia, kills her, and then like another guy comes in and is like, which was a twist that he was a bad guy, and he's like, yeah, it actually wasn't her. We have her somewhere else. And I think Julia was a great addition here to Ethan's wife. I think she's a really cool character. They have a really good love triangle. It doesn't feel like a forced relationship like in the second movie. And this one, actually, I really like this relationship here. I think it's really good. Whoever played Julia did a great job. And yeah, I think this is one of the best romances here, if not the best. I think it's just really good stuff. And I really did not want her to die. And we're lucky she didn't. Sadly, they do get divorced after the third film. And we really don't get to see her again. We see her like a glimpse of her, and I think it was 4. And then we see her again in 6. But yeah, it kind of sucked. But she was a really good relationship here. Really enjoyed it. But the action in here wasn't at its best still. But I think we did get some cool stuff. We get that one scene where like Tom Cruise, I think it's like jumping off a roof or something, and is stealing the rabbit's foot. That was a really cool scene. He's like beating up all those guys, jumping off the roof of a building, stuff like that. And yeah, that was pretty cool. Rabbit's foot itself, I always was curious what that was, and Final Reckoning answered my question. It was something to do with the entity. It was really cool. Really enjoyed that. The team here wasn't great. We get like Declan and this other girl. We never see them again. They're there. One of them gets shot, but they both survive, but we never see them again. That's one of the biggest problems with the franchise, and a couple other problems for the other franchises, is they're not always good at like getting the characters to return. So like some of my favorite characters don't return. Like not from this film. These two characters that were in the team, did not care about them. If they died, I would not care at all. I was fine with them not returning. Naya, like I always said she's a forgettable character. Still, it would have been nice to see her return if Ethan loved her that much. Julia, we did get to see her return. We see like glimpses of her again. The 6th film, we get to see her for like 10 minutes, so that was kind of nice. There's a couple other characters like Brant, Jeremy Renner. She doesn't return. Jane Carter, she doesn't return either. So yeah, there are a bunch of other characters I can name. But yeah, that's kind of like one of my big problems here. is they not always accurate on returning characters. But again, here, Declan and that other girl did not care if they died, did not care that they didn't return. But we got Luther, and this is the movie that we get introduced to Benji, my second favorite character in the franchise. That was nice, but he didn't go in the field this time. He was just like doing some tech stuff, working for Ethan. But still, enjoyed it. All right, this is the movie we get introduced, so nostalgia here. Yeah. So overall, really good. Like we get the awesome like helicopter chase scene in the more of the start of the film where they rescue this one girl and she has a chip in her head. Then she actually dies from Owen Damien. That's what makes this guy so evil. Like I just want to go punch this guy in the face. He's just that evil. And after like before, I didn't really care that she died, but then after it shows like some flashbacks of Ethan training her and stuff. So that was actually pretty sad. Like I got kind of emotional after that, seeing those flashbacks, because they seemed like, yeah, just it was kind of sad that she died. She looked young, so that kind of sucked. We also get this like scene on the bridge where like a bunch of cars are getting blown up. So yeah, overall like just we get some great action, some great like emotional stuff, and it's a very dark movie. In fifth place, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The finale to this amazing franchise. Now, I will not be talking long about this movie because I have a review where I talked for like 35 minutes about this movie. So if you want to hear my more in-depth spoiler thoughts of this movie, go check out my review for it. But yeah, this was a very satisfying conclusion to not only this amazing franchise, but like to the plot itself with the entity and stuff. Really enjoyed that conclusion. Not the final scene where they're just all nodding heads and stuff. Wasn't a fan of that, but like the conclusion itself, like I really liked. I was kind of pissed that they killed off Luther. I wasn't kind of. I was full on pissed that they killed off Luther in this film. Because he's one of my favorite characters of the franchise. He's like top 5 favorite characters of the franchise. He's in that top 5, and I was really pissed that they decided to kill him off. And he didn't even get to go out on the field in this one. I don't know what he had, a disease or something, but Gabriel killed him. He also killed another one of my favorite characters of the franchise. We'll talk about that later. But just, I really was super pissed about that. And the emotional reaction here, with like Ethan and stuff, and Benji, I was kind of hoping that they would like cry and stuff and get more emotional, even though I did cry when he died. And we had like the score and stuff in the background. I wanted a little bit more of emotional moment for Luther's death since he's been there since day one. So, wasn't a fan of that they killed him off, but the movie gets super intense. Also, quickly, I was really trying to balance this out, this ranking. This was a very hard ranking. The last two were very clear, and the top two were also very clear. But in the middle, for my 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd for placements, that was very tough. Especially this one and Mission Impossible 3. I was really trying to balance this out. But I chose this one because very satisfying conclusion. This movie is intense. We get that really, really intense submarine sequence with the cross and stuff, seeing with the entity, and like this unlocks to the entity. And that was just really intense. I was gripping my seat, sweating, my heart was just sinking, like I was on a roller coaster. It was so intense. There's like missiles like flying, like landing on him and stuff. He like all that stuff. Then after he escapes, he like almost drowns. So Grace has to come and save him. We get one of the most intense sequences I've ever seen with the plane, where he's like falls and like actually just thinking about it made me like feel like I'm gonna drop, because he's like holding on like to the side of the plane on the wing. But then at one point he falls down and he's holding on to like the wheel part. There's this like bar that he's holding on to. If he falls, he dies. So like, then I looked down at my seat and I was like, am I on that plane? It was intense stuff. So yeah, like, oh my gosh, I was so relieved that none of that happened. And like, the world was really at stake there. So I was actually kind of nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna die? But then, then the movie ended, and I was like, oh, it's just a movie. But yeah, it's just a very intense movie, like one of the most intense movies I've ever seen in my life. That's how intense this movie is, and awesome. It's some really good action sequences. The hand-to-hand combat in this movie is great. You get an awesome shootout sequence at the end. Really, really good movie. This movie takes a while to get started in the first hour, but the second hour, it moves like fine wine. So, yeah. I don't even know why I said fine wine. It's not going to age like fine wine because, I mean, it will, probably. But, yeah, it's still in theaters. A movie that ages like fine wine is, I don't even know. But, the movie just, I don't know, it keeps going, man. It just doesn't stop for the second half of the movie. It just doesn't stop. We get action sequence after incredible stunt, and like another action sequence with another incredible stunt. It is crazy, but this movie is awesome. In fourth place, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. This is probably like the most fun Mission Impossible film. This and like another one are just absolutely just fun. Like if you're just looking for an enjoyable Mission Impossible film that doesn't like have to like really turn your brain on, like some of the more clever spy ones that focus on the more spy aspect, um, then this is one of them where you're just gonna get some good action, some good stunts, and some really good characters. Cause yeah, we get introduced to like this is probably like one of the best teams of the entire franchise. Cause obviously we got Ethan, and then we get Benji. This is Benji's first time in the field, so that was really fun. Sadly, Luther doesn't really make an appearance until the end of the film, so he's barely in this one. But we got Ethan and Benji. Then we get introduced to Jane Carter, who, really cool character. Love her. She's like top 10 favorite characters of the franchise. And we get introduced to Jeremy Renner's Brand. So this is just a great, great team. So really enjoyed that. And like we get the incredible stunt, one of my favorite stunts, where Tom Cruise is climbing the building with those grippy hands, but then one of them starts to like fall off, so he's just doing it with one hand. Then he has to get to this building, then he has to like rope down. It was just awesome. We get some awesome action sequences in the beginning, the middle, and sure, the end too. But I think that the beginning and the middle are very much stronger than the final act of the film, the final showdown. And the plot of this film is very forgettable. Like, I actually barely remember the plot of this movie. And the villain here is probably the weakest and most forgettable villain of the entire franchise. So, yeah, not very good there. But still, this movie's fun. It's awesome. You're going to have a good time with this movie. Just a great, great film. And this is just one that I will go back to 1,000 times because of how fun this movie is. In third place, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Other than the first Mission Impossible film, this is one you're going to have to really turn your brain on because, yeah, this goes all out with the spy stuff. This probably has the coolest gadgets in it. There's some, like, just really cool spy stuff. Spy scenes where, like, breaking into all these places. It's just, yeah, you're going to need to turn your brain on for this one. We get the Syndicate here. The villain here, Solomon Lane, very great. The actor for this, like, I just love his, like, accent voice where he, like, just says everything. It's just everything that he says, all the lines are, like, actually, like, really good. And this guy is threatening. So, like, he's one of the best villains of the entire franchise. This guy he knows what he's doing. It's pretty intense stuff. We get introduced to Ilsa Faust, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Ilsa Faust is my third favorite character of the entire franchise. If you want to know, second's Benji, one is obviously Ethan. But Ilsa, I just love her. She super cool. She's just awesome. And yeah, I just love her. Alright. It's just really nice that we get introduced to her in this film. And yeah, we get some awesome action in here. We get an awesome motorcycle chase sequence, like one of the best chase sequences ever. Like this motorcycle chase sequence is awesome. And we get a scene where Ethan goes underwater in this place because he has to like hold his breath and he starts to drown, and Elsa goes in to save him and he has to break into something. That was awesome. I think that inspired the submarine sequence in The Final Reckoning because of this. That was just awesome. We also get the opera sequence where there's like three people shooting. There's a guy with a like clarinet or whatever. I don't know what it is. Clarinet, saxophone. I don't know. We get the police officer with this like gun thing that like the bar is actually a gun, and the other guy with the saxophone or whatever, that's a gun as well. And then we got Elsa there with her gun, and they're ready to shoot whatever president, whatever. So that was pretty cool. I mean, it was an awesome sequence. I love the opera scene. I love the motorcycle scene. I love the underwater sequence. This movie just is awesome with the action, but also just like the spy stuff is just incredible. It's such a clever movie. Like there's some twists in here that will make you gasp and be like, "Oh my gosh." Because of these like twists, and it's just awesome, man. It's just great stuff. We get Brandt here again. And yeah, we get a great team here with Luther, Benji, Ethan, Brandt, Elsa. Like it's a just awesome and fun and incredible. It's an amazing movie. It's an amazing movie. And this is one I will go back to a lot as well. It's not as fun and easygoing as Ghost Protocol, but this movie is still very clever and an amazing Mission Impossible film. My runner-up, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. After seeing Final Reckoning, I even appreciate this movie more, because this is just one of the best setup movies I've ever seen. Like, this is even better than Deathly Hallows Part 1. And Part 2 of Deathly Hallows, well, actually, like, at some point, I actually really liked Part 1 better. Right now, I'm trying to, like, even it out. Or not even it out, but, like, you know, I'd say they're, like, even, alright? Here, though, Dead Reckoning Part 1, or just known as just Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning is a lot better than Final Reckoning, in my opinion. That movie is incredible. It is very fast-paced, not like Final Reckoning, where like the first hour takes a while to get going. This movie is just on a railroad track. See what I did there? Because the ending sequence. But this movie just doesn't stop, and it keeps going. It's like Tom Cruise running. He just doesn't stop. But yeah, we get that beginning sequence with the people and like in the submarine, and the entity is shooting their missiles back at them, blowing the place up. We get the airport sequence, and by the way, like this movie, yeah, it's almost as long as Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning is like a little bit longer, but this movie is like 2 hours and 43 minutes. Final Reckoning is 2 hours and 49 minutes, pretty sure. But this movie, yeah, the sequences are very much long. They are very much worth it. Yeah, some of them don't have like an action sequence, but still very much worth it. Like the airport sequence doesn't really have an action sequence, but it is just intense, and I am so invested in this movie. This is one of those movies where I was just hooked in every second of this film because of how just like we're going. And yeah, we also get that desert sequence where I thought Elsa Faust is dead. They pretend she's dead for a while, but she actually isn't. Like we thought that she got shot and stuff, but she actually didn't. They like tell us about that later. But yeah, that desert sequence, awesome stuff. There's like not a blizzard, but like a desert storm, sandstorm, and yeah, it's just awesome. We get Elsa shooting, sniping people, Ethan Hunt's kicking butt, all that stuff. That desert sequence, awesome. And then we go to the airport sequence, awesome stuff. Then we get that awesome chase sequence. And also we get introduced to Haley Atwell's Grace, which is one of my favorite characters. I absolutely love her in this film and Final Reckoning. I wish she was introduced a lot sooner, but yeah. She's just a very fun character. So we get that awesome chase sequence. It's like 20 minutes long, and it is awesome. I love that chase sequence. Then we get to that party sequence, which was awesome, honestly. We get the White Widow here, Vanessa Kirby. She's at her best here. And, just awesome stuff. We do get the death of Elsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson's character, which really, I was crying. I literally yelled at the screen when I watched this film the first time. Literally, I did. I actually just yelled at the screen and started crying like a baby. Because of her death, it just really did a number on me. And because she's my third favorite character in the entire franchise, I was just so pissed that they killed her off. Even more pissed than Luther's death, because it's just how emotional and like just mad I was. It was really, that was like my only negative for the film of how they killed her off and stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm actually happy they didn't kill her off in that desert sequence. How like we find her, she's dead. I like, but still, like I just wanted to kill Gabriel right there. Like Ethan, go kill him. And after that, Ethan actually doesn't even kill him at the end. So after him killing Ilsa and Luther, still, nope. He dies from just hitting his head on the plane in Final Reckoning. So, yeah, just, I don't know. But yeah, we also get the, like, final showdown on the train. Everybody's there, Kittredge, White Widow. We get, the actress for Mantis, Paris. She's there. Like, just everybody's there. We get the awesome motorcycle jump sequence. One of the best stunts I've ever seen, where he rides the dirt bike off the cliff. That was just, oh my gosh. And the train where, like, parts of it are, like, falling off a cliff and stuff. And we get that fight between him and Gabriel on the, like, the roof of the train. It was just awesome. And this is one of my favorite films of the decade. I absolutely love this movie. And, yeah, just an incredible, incredible film. But in first place, Mission Impossible Fallout. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is one of the best action movies of all time. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a masterpiece. Like, oh my gosh. This is probably, like, the most rewatchable Mission Impossible film, just because of how fun this movie is, and how awesome. Like, yeah. We also get introduced to August Walker, or John Lark, whatever you want to call him, Henry Cavill, and this is one of Henry Cavill's best performances. He was incredible as the villain here. Like, incredible. All his lines were very, like, intimidating and stuff. He was just amazing. Like, I didn't even see that twist coming. I thought he was just going to be, like, teammate, a friend to Ethan, and then it turns out, nope, he is the villain of the movie. That was just awesome. And, yeah. We also, like, but yeah, the movie just doesn't stop. Doesn't take a breath. It just keeps going with, like, action sequence after action sequence after action sequence. It just doesn't stop and doesn't take a breath. Like, we get Ethan and August Walker, whatever, Henry Cavill, I'm just going to call him that, jumping out of a plane. We get that awesome, like, one of the best hand-to-hand combat sequences I've ever laid eyes on in the bathroom. Like, where they're just beating the crap out of this guy. We get Henry Cavill flexing his muscles. It was just awesome. Just one of the best hand-to-hand combat sequences ever. And then we get that dinner sequence, or not dinner, but in that bar with Vanessa Kirby. There's a bunch of guys going after her, and Ethan's just kicking all their butts. Then they leave. Then we get this awesome, like, shootout sequence with the cops and stuff, and then Ethan, like, betrays them and stuff. And then a bunch of guys come after, shoot a cop and stuff. He shoots all of them. We get an awesome motorcycle sequence, chase sequence. It is just awesome. And then we get the ultimate helicopter sequence. And one of my favorite stunts is where, like, falls off and, like, lands on, like, this rock thing that it's carrying. Oh my gosh. Just incredible stuff. But that helicopter chase sequence, oh my gosh. And then we get that final fight between him and August Walker after the side of a cliff. Like, oh my gosh. One of the best action movies ever. How can you not say that? Just doesn't take a breath or anything. Elsa Faust, she's at her best here. Ethan's at his best. Benji's at his best. Luther's at his best. We even see Julie at the end of this film also. It's just incredible. We get Solomon Lane. He's just making some intimidating lines here. It's just, no. This is incredible. Honestly. If you don't like this movie, get out, because it is just, like, top 20 favorite films of all time for me. It is just, I can't talk about this movie enough. I can't. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.